In this video, we will explain about the system for foreign human resources with specified skills in the manufacturing industry. In the manufacturing industry, the following three sectors are covered by the system for foreign human resources with specified skills: machine parts and tooling industries, industrial machinery industry, and electric, electronics, and information industries. First, let's take a look at three industrial sectors covered by the program. Machine parts and tooling industries contain industries that manufacture and supply metal parts with complex shapes and high strength by applying heat and force to materials. The term machine parts and tooling here refers to the parts and components that have been given shape through the application of heat and force to materials such as metal. The industrial machinery manufacturing sector contains industries that manufacture industrial machinery and equipment in Japan, mainly construction machinery, woodworking machinery, agricultural machinery, and industrial machinery. Electric, electronics, and information industries are those responsible for the manufacture of electronic devices and electrical equipment. For example, electronic device includes telephones and other communication devices, electronic instruments and receivers. Electrical equipment includes electronic components for household appliances and electronics products such as electric refrigerators. This video is divided into the following four sections. Section 1 is the outline of the system for foreign human resources with specified skills. 3 manufacturing sectors. Section 2 is the process leading up to the start of employment for foreign human resources with specified skills. Section 3 is about the specified skill number 1 assessment test for manufacturing field. In Section 4, we will explain the contact point for inquiries. First, in Section 1, we provide an overview of the system for foreign human resources with specified skills for the three manufacturing sectors. In the manufacturing industry, the following three sectors in the leftmost column are covered by the system for foreign human resources with specified skills: machine parts and tooling industries, industrial machinery industry, and electric, electronics, and information industries. In the description that follows, we will refer to them collectively as the three manufacturing sectors. The system for foreign human resource with specified skills requires foreign personnel to have a certain level of skill and Japanese language proficiency, and as shown in the table, they must pass both the skills exam and the Japanese language test. First of all, the skill level is confirmed by the specified skill number 1 assessment test for manufacturing field, which will be held in Japan and overseas. Next, foreign personnel need to take either 1, the Japan Foundation Test for Basic Japanese, JFT Basic, or 2, N4 or higher of the Japanese language proficiency test. This information is listed at the asterisks below. Those who have successfully completed Technical Intern Training 2, corresponding to the work categories in the three manufacturing sectors, are exempt from taking the skills test and the Japanese language proficiency test, assuming that they meet the required level of skills and Japanese language proficiency. Those who have successfully completed Technical Intern Training 2, not corresponding to the work categories in the three manufacturing sectors, are exempt from the Japanese language proficiency test, assuming that they meet the required level of Japanese language proficiency. Foreign personnel will be required to take a skills exam to confirm skill level. Next, we would like to talk about the work categories that foreign human resources with specified skills can engage in the In Other Important Matters section. This will be explained on the next page. Work categories foreign human resources with specified skills can engage in are according to this next table. The test classification of the skills exam and the work categories where tasks are actually performed are divided into 19 corresponding categories. For example, the first category, casting, is a work category in which the worker understands the instructions of the supervisor or uses his or her own judgment to engage in manufacturing products by pouring molten metal into molds. Next, forging is a work category in which the worker understands the instructions of the supervisor or uses his or her own judgment to engage in the increasing strength and shaping of metal by striking and pressurizing it. Die casting is a work category in which the worker understands the instructions of the instructor or uses his or her own judgment to engage in mass production of high-precision castings in a short time by pressing molten metal into molds. Machining is a work category in which the worker understands the instructions of the instructor or uses his or her own judgment to engage in the processing of metal materials, etc., using cutting tools and various machine tools such as lathes, milling machines, drilling machines, etc. Metal pressing is a work category in which the worker understands the instructions of the instructor or uses his or her own judgment to engage in the forming of metal materials by applying pressure, bending, shaping, and constricting them with press machines using molds. Ironworking is a work category in which the worker understands the instructions of the instructor or uses his or her own judgment to engage in the processing, installing, and assembling of ironworking materials. Factory sheet metal is a work category in which the worker understands the instructions of the instructor or uses his or her own judgment to engage in the processing and assembling of thin metal sheets used in various industrial products. Metal plating is a work category in which the worker understands the instructions of the instructor or uses his or her own judgment to engage in work to coat the surface of materials such as metals with a thin metal for corrosion prevention, etc. Aluminum anodic oxidation treatment is a work category in which the worker understands the instructions of the instructor or uses his or her own judgment to engage in the process of oxidizing the surface of aluminum to produce a film of aluminum oxide. Finishing is a work category in which the worker understands the instructions of the instructor or uses his or her own judgment to engage in processing, adjusting, finishing, or assembly of components with hand tools and machine tools to improve accuracy. Mechanical inspection is a work category in which the worker understands the instructions of the instructor or uses his or her own judgment to engage in the inspection of machine parts using various measuring instruments, etc. Machine maintenance is a work category in which the worker understands the instructions of the instructor or uses his or her own judgment to engage in work to prevent breakdowns and deterioration of plant equipment and machinery, and to maintain and preserve the normal operation of machinery. Electrical device assembly is a work category in which the worker understands the instructions of the instructor or uses his or her own judgment to engage in assembling electronic devices and related repairs. Electrical equipment assembly is a work category in which the worker understands the instructions of the instructor or uses his or her own judgment to engage in the assembly of electrical equipment and associated adjustments and inspections of electrical systems and mechanisms. Printed wiring board manufacturing is a work category in which the worker understands the instructions of the instructor or uses his or her own judgment to engage in manufacturing printed wiring boards for arranging and connecting semiconductors and other electronic components. Plastic molding is a work category in which the worker understands instructions of the instructor or use his or her own judgment to engage in molding plastic into a specified shape by applying heat and pressure or by cooling. Painting is a work category in which the worker understands the instructions of the instructor or use his or her own judgment to cover the object to be painted with a coating film using paint. Welding is a work category in which the worker understands the instructions of the instructor or use his or her own judgment to join parts by applying heat, pressure, or both. Industrial packaging is a work category in which the worker understands instructions of the instructor or use his or her own judgment to package industrial products for transportation. Next, we will explain the work categories eligible for specified skilled 1 status, 3 manufacturing sectors, and corresponding occupations for technical intern training 2. In this table, the first column on the left shows the 19 work categories covered by the System for Foreign Human Resource with Specified Skills, and next to that, in the second and third columns from the left, are the occupation and work titles of Technical Intern Training 2 trainees that can transfer to Specified Skilled 1 status. For example, in the case of casting, which is a work category subject to Specified Skilled 1 status, if a worker successfully completes either cast iron casting or metal casting of non-iron in the casting category of Technical Intern Training 2, he or she can transfer to Specified Skilled 1 status. Next, the 3 columns to the right show the fields of businesses that can accept workers in each work category. In the case of casting, only foreign personnel in the field of machine parts and tooling industries and in the field of industrial machinery industry, marked with a circle, are eligible to engage in this activity. On the other hand, foreign personnel are not allowed to engage in the field of electronics, and information industries, which is marked with a hyphen. Also, as indicated by the arrows, it is only possible to change jobs within the range of the fields marked by a circle. In the example of casting, it is possible to 1. Change jobs between businesses in the field of machine parts and tooling industries, and 2. Change jobs from businesses in the machine parts and tooling industries to businesses in the industrial machinery industry. On the other hand, foreign personnel cannot change their job to a company in the electronics, and information industries. Next, we will explain job changes for foreign human resources with specified skills. Foreign human resources with specified skills can change jobs under certain conditions. As explained on the previous page, foreign human resources with specified skills in the casting work category are eligible to work for businesses in the machine parts and tooling industries or industrial machinery industry. In our example, a worker is currently in the casting work category and has an employment contract with the company in the machine parts and tooling industries. As shown in 1, it is possible to change to a company in the machine parts and tooling industries. In addition, as shown in 2, it is possible to change jobs to a business in the field of industrial machinery industry, which is recognized by the work category. Of course, it is also possible to move from the industrial machinery industry to the machine parts and tooling industries. However, a worker cannot change jobs to a field where their work category is not recognized. As shown in 3, the work category of casting does not allow workers to change jobs to a business in the electric, electronics, and information industries. Furthermore, foreign workers who have more than one work category can work in more than one work category if they are granted permission to stay in each category. For example, a person whose work category allows him/her to do welding and painting can engage in both jobs if he/she obtains a resident permit from the Immigration Services Agency of Japan for each work category. Next, we will explain the concept of work to be performed by foreign human resources with specified skills. Foreign human resources with specified skills can engage in the 19 work categories. When doing so, it is acceptable to engage incidentally in related work in which Japanese nationals who are engaged in the relevant work would normally be engaged. For example, 1. Procurement and transportation of raw materials and parts. 2. Pre- and post-process work for each occupation. 3. Crane and forklift operation. And 4. Cleaning and maintenance work are assumed to be related work. However, workers are not permitted to engage in related work exclusively. Next, for reference, we will explain the Japan Standard Industrial Classification of work sites that can accept workers in the 3 manufacturing sectors. Work sites that fall under the following numbers in the Japan Standard Industrial Classification set by Japan's Ministry of Internal Affairs and Communications are eligible to accept foreign human resources with specified skills. Therefore, foreign human resources will work for the companies in the industries listed in this table. In Section 2, we will explain the process leading up to the start of employment for foreign human resources with specified skills. Here, we will explain the process leading up to the start of employment for foreign human resources with specified skills. The left side of the chart shows the process for foreigners coming to Japan from overseas, while the right side shows the process for foreigners residing in Japan. In this video, we will explain the process for foreigners coming from overseas as explained on the left side. There are 2 types of foreign nationals coming to Japan from overseas: those who successfully completed Technical Intern Training 2 in the past, and those who plan to newly enter Japan. First, we will explain those who successfully completed Technical Intern Training 2 in the past. Foreign national who successfully completed Technical Intern Training 2 in the past are exempt from the skills test and the Japanese language test, as they are considered to already have the skills and Japanese language ability required for specified skilled. 1. A person who successfully completes Technical Intern Training 2 is defined as a person who has passed Level 3 of the National Trade Skill Testing or an equivalent evaluation test, or a person who has not passed the test but can be evaluated as having the skill level and Japanese language level recognized for Specified Skilled 1 status in light of his/her attendance and the content of the skills acquired. Foreign nationals who have successfully completed Technical Intern Training 2 are expected to search for an accepting organization where they can work by directly applying for job openings or receiving assistance by private job referral company. After an interview with the accepting organization, the worker signs an employment contract with the accepting organization. In this case, the foreigner is required to receive pre-employment orientation conducted by the accepting organization and medical checkups. After that, the accepting organization will apply for a certificate of eligibility to the Regional Immigration Bureau on behalf of the foreigner, and if the application is approved as meeting the various conditions after examination, the certificate of eligibility will be sent to the accepting organization. The requirements for foreign nationals to receive this are as follows. Must be 18 years old or older. Passed skills exam and Japanese language test for nationals who have successfully completed Technical Intern Training 2 are exempted. Have not resided in Japan for a total of 5 years or more as a specified skilled worker 1. Has not been levied with a deposit or entered a contract that includes a breach of contract penalty. If there are expenses to be borne by the applicant shall fully understand the contents, and so on. Once the accepting organization sends the certificate of eligibility to the foreigner submits it to the Japanese embassy or consulate general to apply for a visa, and when the visa is issued, the foreigner enters Japan and starts working at the accepting organization. After arriving in Japan, the foreigner must attend orientation on daily life in Japan carried out by accepting organization or registered support organization, register as a resident at the municipality where they live, open a bank account for receiving wages, and secure housing before working at the accepting organization. Next, let's go back to the top left corner and discuss the case of a foreign national who plans to newly enter Japan. If you are a foreigner entering Japan for employment, you will need to pass the Japanese language test and skills test held overseas. For the skills exam, you must pass the test for the work category of the designated industry field. For the Japanese language test, you must pass the Japan Foundation Test for Basic Japanese, JFT Basic, or the Japanese Language Proficiency Test, N4 or higher, conducted by the Japan Foundation and the Japan Educational Exchanges and Services. After passing the test, the process is the same as for a foreign national who successfully completed Technical Intern Training 2. In Section 3, we will explain the Specified Skill Number 1 Assessment Test for Manufacturing Field. Here we will explain the overview of the Specified Skill Number 1 Assessment Test for Manufacturing Field. As of February 2021, the Specified Skill Number 1 Assessment Test for Manufacturing Field is being conducted as shown in the table. Of the 19 work categories, the examinations are listed separately for welding and 18 categories other than welding. The date, time, and location of the examinations will be updated on the portal site as soon as they are determined, so please check back. The examination time is 60 minutes for the practical skill exam and 60 minutes for the written exam. For welding, the practical skill exam is 60 to 90 minutes. 20 persons per examination venue are permitted for each test category. For the 18 categories other than welding, the examinations for both the written exam and the practical skill exam are conducted by computer-based testing or tests on paper. For the written exam, welding is a test on paper, and a practical skills exam is a test for product making or other work skill. The pass-fail criteria is 65% or more of correct answers for the written exam and 60% of correct answers for the practical skill exam. Welding is judged on the basis of the standards for the products made in the product making or other work skill exam. The language of the exam will be the local official language in which the exam is held. The examination criteria is the Skill Test Level 3 or equivalent of the National Trade Skill Testing for people who complete Technical Intern Training 2 that exempts Specified Skilled 1 examination. Sample questions are available on the portal site of the Ministry of Economy, Trade, and Industry. In principle, foreign nationals who are 17 years of age or older on the day of the examination and who intend to work in Japan if they pass the examination are qualified to take the examination. Application will be made through the Ministry of Economy, Trade, and Industry's portal site as soon as the exam is confirmed. The examination fee is approximately 2,000 Japanese yen for all categories, with payment in local currency. For the time being, there is no fee for issuing a pass certificate. For method of notification of pass-fail, the test center will send an email notification to all candidates within 3 months of the test. Next, we will explain the details of the written exam for the Specified Skill Number 1 assessment test for manufacturing field. We show an image of the written exam. The written exam uses true or false questions. For other work categories, please refer to the sample questions from the Ministry of Economy, Trade, and Industry portal site. Next, we will explain about the practical skill exam. The 18 work categories, excluding welding, are tests in which you read content related to actual materials and work and choose the correct answer, as seen in the sample question on the left. Welding is a test in which you follow the examiner's instructions using an actual machine to perform the work, as shown in the photo on the right. In both exams, we are taking all possible measures to prevent the spread of COVID-19. At the same time, we are asking for the cooperation of all examinees in taking care of their physical condition and reporting their temperature for 2 weeks. Next, we will explain procedures after passing the Specified Skill Number 1 assessment test for manufacturing field. After a candidate passes the exam and agrees to enter into a contract with the accepting organization, a pass certificate is needed for procedures to enter Japan. Please apply for the issuance of a pass certificate from the portal site by persons who passed the exams and the accepting organization. A pass certificate will be sent to the accepting organization where the worker will actually work. Next, for your reference, we will explain about the Japanese language test. Japanese language skills necessary for work, based on the ability to carry out daily conversation to some extent and not interfere with daily life, are required for foreign human resources with specified skills. Workers must satisfy one of the following requirements as the Japanese language test. 1. Passing the Japan Foundation Test for Basic Japanese, JFT Basic, or 2. Obtaining N4 or higher of the Japanese Language Proficiency Test. Even if you have passed a test to measure your Japanese language ability other than those listed here, it cannot be used to prove your Japanese language ability, as required by the system for foreign human resources with specified skills. However, if you have successfully completed Technical Intern Training 2 in the 3 manufacturing sectors or other occupations or professions, you are exempted from the Japanese language test. Lastly, in Section 4, we will describe the contacts for inquiries. In the 3 manufacturing sectors, we have established a multilingual consultation service for foreign human resources with specified skills themselves, or those who are seeking to acquire specified skilled status. Support is available in Japanese, English, Chinese, Vietnamese, Indonesian, and Thai. Please feel free to contact us by phone or email. Please refer to the portal site for various consultation services. This is the end of our explanation of the acceptance of foreign human resources with specified skills in the manufacturing industry.